You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership podcast with Nick Shabrinsky, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real-life experiences.
Yo, what's up, beautiful people? Thank you for jumping in on Life, Hope, and Leadership with me, Nick Shabrinsky. I hope you are loving the podcast. I hope they are pushing you, challenging you, and encouraging you. Like I always say, I always mean it. All I want to do is see you get to the fullness of God's will for your life. That's what it's all about, man. I believe that God created every single person to know him and to make him known. And, there's a lot of opportunities out there. There's a lot of stuff going on in our world that just makes us often feel, I honestly, like more than ever, it is, I think it's called I can't think of the name of it, but there's so many opportunities, so many decisions to be made, so many things out there. Man, does it make it difficult sometimes to take your next step? Like, where do I go? What steps should I take? And I want to encourage you that there's a lot of opportunities out there for you. There's a lot of different steps you can take. And I think it's important to know that, man, you do not have to be married to every little decision, but you got to be willing to listen and to grow. And so that's actually what today's podcast is about. I just wanted to share some thoughts, maybe some frustrations, just vent a little. If you don't know, I started this podcast, it's just a way for me to share little things of life, share some stuff about hope, and hopefully drop some nuggets on leadership. But at the end of the day, it's really just us getting together and chatting it up, making some stuff happen so that at the end of today, there's something that I can maybe add to the arsenal of your life and help you become the best you that you were meant to be. Thank you to everybody who likes, subscribes, follows on all different podcasting channels. I know on Spotify, you can comment. I know people are supporting monthly. That's awesome. I appreciate you. Thank you. You guys are the real deal. And if you enjoy this podcast or any of my podcasts, make sure you love, share, like, whatever, give some feedback, find people that want to listen to it. And if you don't mind, maybe take a little bit and just hit that subscribe button, and we'll be friends forever. You can follow me on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all that other stuff, man. I don't know. If there's a space that I can fill up with hope, I'm going to fill it up. So anyway, I listen to a lot of podcasts. Well, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a handful of podcasts from a handful of people, and I listen to all their podcasts. I was listening to one, and it really hit something that I was like, man, that's really an issue. And it is it is listening to rather than listening to learn. And I just wanted to lean in on this because I get this a lot. I'm a pastor of a church, and it is crazy to me how many people aren't really looking for mentorship. They're not looking for change. I run across a lot of people that are literally just hopping around until they find somebody who will just agree with everything that they believe. And it breaks my heart. And I heard years ago, I never knew this, but I heard years ago, and I learned that I thought it was the coolest thing, that university, the statement or the word university literally means unity in diversity. And I was like, dude, that is really cool. That really inspired me to go, wow, a school of thought is developed when we can find the ability to sit in a united front, to sit in an environment where we can still have community. We can still have common ground, even amongst diverse thoughts. I think this is such a big deal. And it really stinks that we've created a society where if you don't agree with me or I don't agree with you, we can't even sit at a table and just get along. And I want to encourage you to think about that. I want you to really think about really evaluate right now. Take a self-evaluation time and think about, man, how does my social media engage? How does my conversations engage? How do I engage those who disagree with me politically? How do I engage those who disagree with me spiritually, according to my religious beliefs? How do I engage people who maybe you find them offensive? Maybe you even might despise their belief systems. Are you able to sit at a school of thought, at a table of thought with somebody, even when you don't agree with them? And this is what sucks is like, you can go on Google all day long and you can literally find anything you want to agree with. There was a movie or a documentary on Netflix, I believe it was. It was called The Social Dilemma. I think that was what it was called, The Social Dilemma. And I really enjoyed this documentary, but it was sad because it was explaining the algorithm. And it's kind of funny because when you look back in like 1999, 2000, a movie called The Matrix came out, and The Matrix was just like eye-opening. It should be eye-opening. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it. But it just talks about how like we're in this system and we build these desirable outcomes and we kind of program our life into just being everything that I would want things to be. I just want this perfect kind of world. I want this perfect context. And there's this part in there where a guy is like, yo, I will sell out my people as long as I can at least be in a fake environment that is pleasing to me. It's not going to be beneficial. It's not going to pay off in the long run. But as long as I am comfortable, as long as all the lies around me are at least comforting to my desires or outcome. And I really believe that it's important that we have to step back and look at the algorithm. And in The Social Dilemma, I believe that was the name of it. And you guys can type it in the comments. You can message me if I'm wrong. But in The Social Dilemma, it's crazy because you're watching this documentary and it's talking about how the algorithm, how our phones are listening to us, our search results are user-based advertising. So all of the apps and all of the systems and the iOS and the Androids and the platforms you're using, they're going into kind of like what you lean into. And they're saying, yo, feed them more of that. Feed them that. Don't feed them something adverse to what they're looking for. Just keep them happy. Don't expose them to a different school of thought. Don't expose them to controversy. Just keep them happy. Keep their timeline with people and things that they're happy with, and just keep them over there. And then all these people that they agree opposite and they think opposite and they believe opposite, let those people's search results just continually populate whatever it is that they think about. But just keep everybody blind and happy. And be careful with this. And I want you to think about that, blind and happy. There are a lot of people who are miserable, but if you even begin to talk to them about a different way. See, I'm a Christian. And I have been on the outside of Christianity. I have messed around with multiple religions. I have gone through a different series of life seasons. I have done good, bad, and indifferent. And at the end of the day, I came to this bottom line of I truly believe, based on the process of evaluation and elimination and consideration and all the ins, right? I realized, and I come to this conclusion, I truly believe Jesus Christ is exactly who the Bible says he is, and I want to serve him all the days of my life. And so I devote my life to Jesus Christ. Now, I love sitting down, and this sucks because I know a lot of people that are like, yeah, I've been around circles where I disagree and immediately like I'm demonized. This is why I didn't like that movie, and it's no hate to it. I think it's a great movie, and I love Christian film, and I love that Christian film is getting way better than it used to be. But there was a movie called God's Not Dead. You should check it out. And I really liked the movie, except for I don't like the fact that it like immediately demonized everybody who didn't believe in Christianity. I believe there are phenomenal people that disagree with Christianity. I think there are awesome, loving, kind, but still sinners, of atheists and agnostics. And I think there are witches out there that honestly, like they're beautiful people and they have every right intention, but I truly believe that no way outside of Jesus Christ will get you to heaven. But what sucks is a lot of times people live in this, I only will talk to you and listen if I like. I don't want to learn. And so now we've come into this place where like if we don't agree, we're screaming at each other, we're canceling each other, we're fighting each other. And we need to get back to this place where we can sit down and say, look, I have come across some information that maybe you don't agree with, but can I give it to you? Can I show it to you? Because we have become a society that only listens to like and we don't listen to learn. There's actually a saying that majority of people listen to reply, not listen to understand. Majority of people are listening to reply. So, an example of this is you tell someone a whole story. Maybe it's like a debate, or maybe it's you're just trying to share something, and their reply to you doesn't seem to have put in any consideration any of the words that came out of your mouth, and you realize while you were talking, they stopped listening, and at a point where they were only considering what they were going to say back to you. And so you might have said 250 words, but in the first 50 words, they got distracted and started thinking about what they wanted to reply to you on that first 50 words. They've completely taken it now out of context because there was 200 more words following that thought, and they didn't even listen to the 250. So they're only replying off the first 50 because so many people are in the habit of only listening to reply rather than understand. And the way that I like to articulate this is it is listening to like rather than listening to learn. Listening to learn refers to the act of actively and attentively listening in order to acquire knowledge, gather information, or understand particular subjects or concepts. Okay? Listen to learn, listen to learn, listen to learn. Young people sitting there with their parents, listen to learn, not listen to reply, not listen to get mad. You're at your job. You think you know what to do. You know how many times I put my foot in my mouth? I think, oh, I got this. I'm not listening to learn. I'm listening to move on. I want to move on. Come on, let's next thing. Next. We have become such a next society that we're skipping now. And now is where we build foundations. Now is where we gain knowledge. Tomorrow, next, you can't have understanding without knowledge. So people want to fight the listen because they think they already know. And so we really have stopped becoming a learning society because we think we already know. We've become accustomed. I love it. We were just talking about it in church last Sunday, Generations House of Worship. We can find us on YouTube, Facebook, all those places. But we had a guest pastor. His name's Josh Grimes. He's a great pastor, great leader, great friend, great mentor, great example in my life since I was a teenager. And he said, the Bible says that we render the word of God useless because we force God, we edge God out by our traditions. And it's really a shame when you think about it, because it's like, God's like, dude, like, I want to speak to you. I want to show you how good I am. And a lot of people in the world are like, your God sucks. And they've seen these. They're like, they use these examples, and I'm looking at them going, yeah, those examples suck. Those people let their traditions push God out and render the word of God ineffective. But we need to learn to be able to sit down with someone who disagrees with us. We need to learn to sit down with somebody who staunchly despises our school of thought, but we need to learn how to have unity in diversity. We need to be able to learn to sit down and go, hey, listen, I want to talk to you because I want to learn. I want to understand why you think the way you do. I want to understand why you believe what you believe. I want to understand how you got to where you are. And let's be honest, most people don't feel like there's anything worth talking about until they feel understood. So imagine if we listened to understand people. Imagine you don't have to, I'm not listening to agree with you. And I want you to step back and go, man, like maybe ask some people that are valuable in your life and just say, hey, dude, do you think I'm a good listener? And remember that like the power of listening is learning and application. So I'm listening, I'm learning, I'm applying. I'm listening, I'm learning, I'm applying. Yeah, I know I disagree with this, but man, I really appreciate you helping me understand why you are where you are or do what you do. I think it's really important. Jesus said something really powerful. He said, hey, look, man, greatest commandments, love the Lord your God with all your heart. Second is just as equal. Love your neighbor as yourself. It says your neighbor as yourself. Man, love the person next to you. Just like love them as much as you love yourself. And what do I learn from that? Dude, I can love somebody without agreeing with them. But I can't tell somebody I love them if I'm not willing to understand them. We have to learn to back up. We're in so fierce about getting it our way, doing it our way, that we don't even give people a chance to just, how cool it is to disagree with somebody and still get along? Back in the day, we used to say, I agree to disagree, and we can still get along. But we need to get back to the place where we can have an actual discussion with people. Here's what I want to challenge you to do. I want you to sit back and I want you just to, the next time you're in a discussion, ask more questions than you make statements. How about this? Next time you're sitting down with someone, you're having a discussion, take notes. Consider what they said. Or when you leave that discussion, go home and take notes on it. Wow, you know what? I was talking to this person about that. This really helps me understand why they do what they do. But if you really want to help somebody, you have to ask some questions to understand where they are in the first place. So listening to learn refers to the act of actively, attentively listening. Actively listening, attentively listening in order to acquire knowledge. I want to know, man, I want to know. I can't get understanding. I have so many people I try to help in my life. And, you know, I know some people probably be like, well, you think you know it all. I don't think I know it all. I know a lot of stuff because I've been around the block, 3 dads, crazy life, traveled around the nation, been able to sit under great mentors. But I want to be a learner. I want to be a teacher, but the best teachers are great learners. And great learners become great teachers. And nobody likes a know-it-all. I love that old adage. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And it sucks because, you know, when you get around people who know a lot, that doesn't mean they understand a lot. What's the proof of understanding? Application. What's the proof of application? Fruitfulness. So, man, I understand, therefore I apply. When you understand and apply, your life has fruit. You become a positive yielding person. So I love this. You know, when you're actively listening, it involves full attention to whoever's speaking. I was telling some of our young people the other day, somebody was speaking and I looked over and I kept seeing them look at their phone. And I said, you know, what if you were up there one day? What if you were up there speaking? How would that make you feel if you keep looking over and you know? I said, there's a difference between taking notes in your phone and scrolling. And people are all the wiser of it. And so what if we learned how to flip, like what if you put your phone and you're actively listening? I heard this one time. It said, when you're in a meeting, put your phone in your pocket. Put your phone upside down. You know, if you have a watch and you have important calls coming, an Apple Watch or a smartwatch, you can tell the person, oh, excuse me for a moment. I just have to check this. You're letting them know, I'm not just checking my phone. I'm not just checking my watch. Hey, I'm sorry. I have to check this. Just give me 1 second. And you're paying attention to where you're leaving off. Hey, by the way, you were saying, let's get back to it. People deserve to, if you're asking people to speak, they deserve to be heard. And so be present. Be careful. Be present with people. Put your phone down. Take your earbuds out. It's one of the worst things that happens, man. I look around, people got the headphones in, they got their earbuds in. Dude, if you got an earbud in, I don't know if you're listening to me and you got it on pause or if you're ignoring me and you got me as background noise. So be present. These are skills. These are character flaws that we've created in our society. I don't care. Hey, I don't got nothing to learn from you. I don't like what you said. I'm checking out. I don't like what you said. I'm leaving. You know what's powerful is when you can sit with people that you disagree with and continually grow from each other. And let me explain something, and I hope that you can get this down in your hard drive. There's always something to learn from everybody. Write that down. Put that in your notes, whatever you got to do. There's always something to learn from everybody. So be present. Be present. Be listening, actively listening. Take notes. Man, I'm going to be listening. Man, I'm taking notes. I'm putting stuff down. I'm jotting things down that you said. Man, these are really good thoughts. Oh, I never thought of it that way. Why do you do that? Why do you say that? Somebody says, oh, well, you know, I believe this. Well, question, why do you believe that? When did you start believing that? What made you believe that? Did you search out other theories? Did you think about that? Why do you work that way? Why have you do it that way? Why do you drive that way? Why do you sit that way? Have you said it differently? Have you ever done this differently? Avoid interrupting. Be very careful. Allow your speaker to express their thoughts. Wait for a pause. Hey, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Would you mind if I continued? Ask clarifying questions. I love this. If you're unclear about something, I always tell my wife, I tell my team, I tell pastors in my life, hey, be careful that you don't leave questions on the table. They're like, what do you mean? If you walk away and you go, man, you know, I just got done meeting with so-and-so. This is going on. I'm not really sure what's going on. I'm not really sure why they're doing this. I'm not sure how I can help them. Dude, ask them. If you meet somebody and you're feeling passionate in your heart to help them or you want to coach them or you want to mentor them, hey, how can I help you? Hey, what question? If I were to help you right now, what would you need? Hey, man, I got a question for you. What's your goal? Hey, man, I see you were out there playing, basketball. How many shots do you take a day? Why are you training? Are you practicing? Are you just blowing off steam? Like, what's going on? If you're unsure, ask more questions. Write that down. If I'm unsure, I'm going to ask more questions. And then, seek different perspectives. Just because you're gaining perspective doesn't mean you're compromising your beliefs. Did you catch that? Just because you're gaining perspective doesn't mean you're compromising beliefs. We need people who have a backbone on their beliefs. But you don't deserve to say you have a backbone on your belief if you haven't considered other thoughts and ideas. I'm not just like, hey, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, and everybody else is an idiot. No, everybody else isn't an idiot. Everybody else is convinced. But why are you convinced? Let's talk about it. And then take time to reflect and engage with people. That's really important. After you've done listening to somebody, hey man, I really appreciate you sharing your story. That was really cool about X, Y, and Z. And that was really wild. I didn't know that that's how you started your business. And I wasn't even aware that happened. Or man, I wasn't sure. I never knew that happened in your life or with your family or in your marriage or with your kids. I really appreciate you. Hey man, that's really crazy. I never knew that about that religion or that belief system. Hey, I didn't know that about about that community of people or those thinkers or this and that. But I just want you to know that I'm here to listen to you. I want to learn. Why? Because learning is growing. Even if we don't come to conclusions together or agreements, learning is growing. And you are responsible for actively learning and actively growing. Which brings me to my question. What are you listening to? What are you reading? And I believe scientists believe and psychologists believe, hey man, people do not change their mindsets unless they are actively listening, growing, leaning into learning through what they're listening to, what they're reading. And sadly, I believe it's in the 80 percentile of people do not read books after they graduate. So they say, oh, I believe this, I believe this, I believe this. No, you believed that, and now you're just stuck in a way of thinking. So I'm all about that statement, and I love the statement. You'll fall for anything if you don't stand for something. So you need to be standing for something, but you need to consider what you stand for. And so we need to be a people that don't get so angry, and we need to learn how to listen, to learn, and not just listen just because we like something. Stop just seeking out stuff you like. Grow your mind, grow up, be mature. Anyway, I hope you guys love it. I hope you're growing from it. I hope you're encouraged. If you like, make sure you subscribe, follow, and have a phenomenal day. Thanks so much for jumping in my podcast. Talk to you guys later.
You are listening to the Life, Hope, and Leadership Podcast with Nick Shabrinsky, a transparent, honest, and encouraging podcast to equip you through real life experiences.